Hello guys, welcome to another weekly breakdown video. Today I'll be breaking down the second week of December, as you can see. Sorry, not second week. Yeah, second week of December, which will start from 9th of December 2024. So before doing that, let's look at the news. Look at a quick peep at the news. Monday no news, Tuesday there was no news, Wednesday CPI, Thursday PPI, and Friday there was GBP GDP news. So if we get a trade on Monday and Tuesday, it will be very good. Meaning, doesn't mean that we need to get a trade on Monday and Tuesday, but we will look for, like, if we get a trade on Monday and Tuesday, it will be very good for us, and we will not have to force any trades on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's the news. And now going to the weekly time frame, as this is a weekly breakdown video. So on the weekly time frame, the candle is a doji. As you can see, it's an indecision candle. But if I was, whenever GBP USD is giving us an indecision candlestick on the weekly, that is when I go to DXY and try to figure out what DXY is doing. So on DXY, it was clearly a bearish candle, not one of the cleanest, but it was a bearish candle rather than a bullish, because of also the previous candle, how it closed, and also the previous candle. It is a bearish pin bar, and that is when I go to Euro USD to confirm, and Euro USD was clearly bullish, targeting the fair value gap to the upside. So that is why I was also aligning my GU bias with EU bias being bullish and GU also being bullish. So the weekly is bullish on GBP USD. So now going on Monday, without wasting any time, going on Monday, the supply demand fair value gap, you guys know what I mark, how I do it, why I do it. And now the Friday candlestick and the weekly bias isn't aligning. That is when I don't trade on Monday. Monday I didn't took a trade, or even I didn't look for a trade, because Monday was not aligning, and weekly bias is bullish. Monday I am looking for sales. That is why I didn't do the trade. So I waited for Monday to close, and Monday there was no news, as you can see. And yeah, no need to waste time, as also I have already done many back testings, like 400-500 back tests already, so I know what I'm doing in the markets. And now I'm not being lazy here, but obviously you need to do smart work. Now I need to get in more onto the front testing, because back testing and front testing are both different things, right? That is why I need to focus more on the front testing now after completing my back testing. Back testing is good, but if you get habituated with back testing, that's not gonna make you money. What's gonna make you money is the front testing. So you gotta focus on that. So Friday was bullish, Monday was bullish, very good. And now Friday is bearish, Monday is bearish. So now going on Tuesday, my bias is bearish on GBP USD, and also Tuesday there is no news. So that is when I go to the H4 to see for some change of character. There was a H4 change of character right here, and also it was reacting from H4 supply zone right around there. So obviously Monday literally went up. My bias going on Monday was bearish, but it went up. That is why, this is the exact reason why you don't want to trade on Mondays, whenever the bias is not clear, right? So my weekly and the daily bias were not aligning on Monday. I didn't do the trade, avoided a loss. Simple as that. Trading is not only about taking the good trades. It's also about avoiding the unnecessary trades like this on Monday. That's what separates the good traders with the bad traders. Bad traders want to trade every single day. They want to get in a position every single day. No problem, let them do it. You do your own thing. It's your profitable. Make sure your strategy is profitable. Make sure you know it like the back of your hand, and just apply it. That's it. So now going on Tuesday, we got our beautiful setup. As you can see, I have just backtested this setup. If you want to see, I will not show you in detail, but it was Asian high setup, Asian high liquidity sweep, higher time frame bias, point of interest mitigation, M5 change of character, OTE level entry, OTE, or you can also argue equilibrium, or you can also argue OTE entry. A beautiful trade, as you can see right around here. And this trade was literally a beautiful 1:3. It happened so quick, in the matter of 1 hour. And the higher time frames, the mid time frame rejection, everything we want to see in a trade was here. And this also shows us that even if the price is entering to the supply zone or the demand zone with huge bullish pressure or bearish pressure, according to whatever bias you are trading with, in this example I'm trading bearish, my bias is bearish, so the price is entering with huge bullish momentum, as you can see. So this is when you want to wait, patiently wait. After this M15 bearish engulfing candlestick, After this M15 bearish engulfing candlestick, that is when you want to wait for the pullback, right? This here will anticipate on the lower time frame. This will be a change of character. So that is when you want to enter. You want to wait for the pullback, and after the lower high, whenever we are selling, we want to enter the lower high, right? So wait for the lower high and then take the trade to the downside to ride the lower low, like in this trade right here. That is why we always wait for the pullback to enter with the lower high, and whenever we are buying, we wait for the higher low to enter for the higher high. There is other ways to trade also. You can also trade directly after the change of character, which is also one thing, and I know that, and that depends on the volume, and also that depends on the conditions of the market. Whichever entries are more valid in that point you are trading, that is what you wanna do. Trust me. So now literally the price went down, gave us our move, wasn't able to sweep the Asian low, as you can see. And this is when, for example, you miss the first entry on London session. Okay, imagine that. So that is when you can wait for the New York session to kick in, and after the New York session kick in, what did the price do? The price went up, swept liquidity from the London session, and then went down. And on New York session also we did got our move. Beautiful move on New York session, as you can see. Yeah, basically this was Tuesday. If you want more in-depth explanation on these trades, then you can watch my other trade breakdown videos. All of them are there in my playlist. As you can see now, Tuesday was a bullish candle. As you can see, it's clearly a bullish candle on GBP USD, and even on DXY, it's not one of the clearest bearish candle, right? I wanted the price to at least go down a bit more to be confident on the trade, to look for sells on DXY and buys on GBP USD. So this is why on Wednesday my bias was not clear, and also one more thing, on Wednesday my bias was not clear, and also on Wednesday there was CPI. So what I did, I decided not to trade. Simple as that. I decided not to trade, and if I traded, I would have, let's see what would happen if I traded. If I traded, I would look for buys, obviously, and looking for buys, I would not get any trades. As you can see, my bias was bullish on GBP USD, which I would have not gotten any trade, as you can see right there. So that is why waiting for, sometimes just not trading and waiting, like whenever your bias is not clear, is better than trading itself. So now, as you can see, even the trust day, even Wednesday's candle closed as a bullish candle. This is a bullish candle because the sellers took the price down, the buyers came in all the way, and then literally more than 50%. Now this is 60 to 70% of retracement happened to the upside, which is bullish. And also the DXY is kind of bullish, as you can see. Yes, you can argue there was a wick at the end of the day, but I would not consider this. I would like to not trade this, or I would trade EU in this situation, because EU would be more cleaner. EU literally is bearish, right? But in this case, I would not trade GU because it's just not clear. So yeah, I've also learned that the EU GU correlation, DXY, when to trade EU, when to trade GU. Obviously I need to do more due diligence, which will happen on the live trading, but according to the back testing, I have gained a lot of information about them. So now on Thursday, if I was looking for something, I would look for buys, as you can see, right? So if I was looking for buys, I would take a loss on Thursday, or I would not trade. So now, just waiting for Thursday to close, my bias going on Thursday is so clear. Friday is so clear now, being bearish, and on DXY it is bullish, as you can see right there. It's literally a bullish break to the upside. Lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, higher highs, change of character. Now we wait for the higher low to then continue to the upside. So going on Friday on GBP USD, my bias is bearish, and whenever my bias is bearish, you know the drill. What I do, I look for some sort of break of structures, change of characters, exactly like that. H4 fair value gap, and then we wait for the H1. On the H1 there was a beautiful supply zone here on New York session. I waited for the Asian range to close, and after the Asian range closed somewhere around here, I was looking for sells, and obviously if I'm looking for sells, I will look for Asian high sweep, supply zone mitigation, and then to the downside, something like that. So obviously the price London session was literally to the downside, but also on London session there was news. London session there was GDP news, as you can see. So this is when I don't trade London session. Whenever there is news in London session and you miss the trade and a huge move happens at a time window, you can trade New York. As you can see here, London session made a huge move to the downside, but there was news, so I wasn't able to take the trade. And what did the pre-New York and some other sessions did? The price went up, swept liquidity from the London session, as you can see right here, and after sweeping the liquidity from London session, on New York session it gave us our entry. So on New York session it literally went up, gave us a double top on the M15 right here, and on the M5 kinda got some sort of entry right here. If I was to enter the trade somewhere on here with a stop loss above here, it would have been a winner, as you can see. So this was a beautiful trade. So, and also it taught us that whenever there is London session news and you miss the trade, you can trade New York. That's possible. So the bias going on Thursday was bullish, but the move happened to the downside, and that's totally fine. Waiting for the setup to appear and only trading high probability setups is so important. So the bias was correct, right? Trading with the daily bias is so profitable, meaning you're not going to win always, but it's very, very profitable. You are literally putting the odds of winning in your favor whenever you're doing that. So as a trader, you want to do that. Here on Monday, the daily and the weekly bias were not aligning, so we didn't took the trade on Monday, whereas on Tuesday it was a beautiful sell due to the momentum from Monday, and we took the trade. This shows how important it is to wait for a setup, and not every day is a trading day and winning day. So yeah, this was the weekly breakdown. It was a very quick one because I need to do 10 more back tests. And now going on the next week, my bias is clearly bearish. This week, but the bias was not one of the cleanest, but now it's clearly bearish, right? So also it will be fun to backtest next week.